All right. Yeah. Yeah. So now my mic's working. So that's good. So he missed the whole big start of it, but Fox is missing. He is under the weather. And he's out this week, and I sure hope he starts to feeling better soon. Given that it's the holidays, and usually that's time where you can usually meet up with some people and stuff. So sure hope they start to feeling better. But this week we got a new mission, which is probably Chad is probably our version of the Deep Stone raid Deep Stone dungeon that we always wanted. And then Lord's looking up to be pretty good, in my opinion so far, right? What the sounds that we're getting. Mm-hmm.
More of a background on more information on him, and I'll dig in a little bit and give a good amount of background information so you can look at him and have an actually more informed opinion. I've definitely talked about him on here. I've told Jared and Ryan lots of fun stories, and I will get into a specific lore book once we get there, about some stuff he does, and it's very, very horrible. Yeah, but yeah. Clovis is definitely a very interesting character. It's good to have more of him, more Elsie going on. It looks like she's getting more involved this week, so happy to talk about all that.
Yeah. So Chad, whenever you're ready, I think we can get the party started.
Yeah.
Probably a shorter episode today than the usual, given no TWAB, no Fox, no drunk rambling. So I'm doing my job this time. I am drinking a New Riff malted 6-year. It's a little bit different way of a rye. It's definitely the malt very takes off a lot of the bite.
Okay.
So I would say it probably would make a very good Manhattan or old fashioned if you're into those. If you're into those things,
old fashioned, yeah.
But
I'll do an old fashioned.
I do it straight. It's very good.
Gotcha. All right. So I got my stuff set up here.
You got the sound, the music, or whatever.
I got squigglies. I see you got squigglies.
What about the intro music? Do you have that?
Intro music, I got it right here.
Okay.
I tested it before.
Okay.
So we're good. And yeah, so you have the Zencastr unmuted currently.
Yeah, I have it muted. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Cool. All right.
All right.
And we will get the show started here in 3, 2, 1. Eyes up, Guardians. We are live for episode 92 of the Conqueror's Corners podcast. Today is 12/22. And I am, again, not the Destiny bad boy, not NotRyanFox. I am chadocero here with my homeboy. You know and love him, Jared.
Hey, Chado. It's tough whenever you lose a fire team member. Just out under the weather. And me and you got into something new this week. It kind of sucked a little bit, going through something new without Fox, but hopefully he's on the up and up coming up soon.
Yeah, he's been down for the count all week, so we definitely wanted to play with him on Tuesday, but we hope that he heals up fast so we can get him in there soon, probably after Christmas. But we'll get him in there and just have a bunch of fun. We won't tell him about any of the things so we can watch him die on all kinds of stuff. But if you're watching on YouTube, don't forget you can take us on the road via Spotify, iTunes, and other podcast services. Be sure you subscribe, unsubscribe, resubscribe. Do that over and over as much as you want. Click the bell, turn on notifications, all that fun stuff, and follow us on Twitter at DestinyCCPod. Send us Bungie friend requests so we can all play together, get into some deep stone because there's red borders now that actually make guns. And other raids in the new dungeon, and happy to run all those things with you guys. Links for all that will be in the description and Discord server. And there is no TWAB this week. So after this intro music, we'll just get into talking about some stuff.
All right, everyone. As we mentioned, there's no TWAB this week, but we did get a new mission. And, right before you started off with that new mission, you did have to run a heist and open up a chest, which hopefully drops you a red border weapon, because we all know we need more of them to start knocking those out. Now, after you do that, you head back to the helm, and old Elsie Braisdale to greet you, and you're going to be trying to go unlock another piece of Rasputin that, Chad, I think it's a space station that just recently come online.
Yeah. It's the Seraph station up there on mission Seraph Shield. Obviously, these last 2 weeks, or the first 2 weeks of the season, we spent infiltrating the Seraph bunker so that we could. The first one we gained access, and then the second one we Clovis got control of the station. This third week we infiltrated in. That way we could actually board the pods that went up to the station itself, and then we went up there to gain control of it before the darkness was able to really get their hold on it. So that was definitely cool. I was hopeful for Deepstone Crypt stuff. So it is cool to see the Deepstone raid zone basically turned into a mission. And it's a pretty quick one once you get used to it. But it's definitely Deepstone the dungeon. Brings back mechanics, makes you do some stuff. So if you haven't done Deepstone Crypt, this is actually a pretty good mission to do, because once you pick up each augment, it tells you what they do. It gives you like a blurb. It says with scanner blah 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 blah, and then it won't go away until you make the message go away. So it actually teaches you the raid mechanics for Deepstone. So if you do this first and haven't played Deepstone yet, you're already know all the mechanics for the raid. You just need to know how DPS works. That's literally it. It's great. So this is actually a really good intro mission. I'm just sad that it's going to go away at the end of the year, because like I said, it's good for a Deepstone deep dive. Get 2 teams of 3 going in there, learn the mechanics in there, and then go into Crypt, and you're already, you're 90% of the way there.
Yeah, that is something I didn't really think about till you just said that. It's going to go away in what, 2-ish months at this point? Just a little more than 2 months?
February, 2 months.
Man, that is one thing that kind of sucks, but at least this is something that I feel like they can regularly put out, given that they use some assets from Deepstone and made some new areas to go along with it. And speaking of new areas, it's the thumbnail of this episode, but man, that skybox when you go up in the pod and then you see the Traveler over the last city. I mean, Chad, is that the best skybox in Destiny 2's history or Destiny's history at that point?
It's definitely awesome. I mean, I thought the skybox floating over Europa in the Deepstone is really cool, but being floating over the Traveler, seeing the Traveler there over Earth and just chilling in space, staring down at that is awesome. It's super cool. They definitely need to get some continuity things done because the Traveler changes size pretty often in in the wherever you're at, viewing it in cutscenes or if you're in the tower or whatever. But seeing that and seeing the walls of the city and stuff like that from space is pretty awesome. It's a really cool view. We definitely Jared was over there looking at stuff. I'm running around looking at stuff, and he's just sitting there posing, taking the snapshots in a couple of different places. He did it. He's like, I want to see if this view's better, and I'm just like, I'm gonna shoot some stuff. But
Yeah.
it was so cool, man. It was so cool to see that.
Yeah. It's basically we mentioned a lot about Deep Stone Crypt mechanics and a lot of the assets and like some of the framework, but like that kind of makes sense that that Rasputin the AI would build and like the Braves would build these structures, these space stations like modeled after each other. Like if it worked, they wouldn't really change up the design too much from space station to space station. So that made sense to me. I'm like one upset that they would use those areas or assets, however you want to say it. And is that kind of how you felt too, Chad?
Well, I definitely from the not knowing everything about the game, knowing a good amount, but not everything. From just my memory, Rasputin had most of that stuff built himself. So the Seraph stations and stuff like that is stuff he made because he split up the war mines into submines or split up the war mine into submines and gave them all a housing place to be. So he had to build all that stuff. The Morning Star ship, which is the one in Deepstone, is absolutely 100% top secret because it is the Deepstone crypt. Not only is the ground station Deepstone, but the connection to the Morning Star global platform is also Deepstone crypt. So those two being connected is what made Deepstone what it was. So that was obviously probably the most recent build that Clovis did, but Rasputin got the assets from it. Lore-wise, Rasputin went in and said, "Hey, Clovis, that's a cool space station you got there. Mind if I copy it?" And then made the station and has it orbiting Earth and not being able to be seen as an orbital platform above Earth. Because we've never, boarded it or anything. It might have had like invisibility going on, stuff like that. But it's really cool to see it. I always liked, like I said, I keep saying, I want to go into creation. I want a dungeon raid in Deepstone because the assets are so cool. The area is neat. It's one of the only places. It's the only place and is going to be the second or the first place because Neomuna is the same way, is that it's clean. It's absolutely clean. It's pristine. The laboratory's in creation. Once you get like into the area where like the Clovis head is, there's like glass broken because there's fights, but the walls, everything's spotless, man. It looks like a lab that is still functioning. And then, like I said, Neomuna is going to be the same way, wherein it's like an actual functioning city that hasn't had any real wars or damage done to it over the 1,000 years or whatever it's been since the Golden Age. So I always wanted to get a dungeon in there because it'd be like really neat, because it's from the thought of we're going into this station or this area of Deepstone that no one else has been in because it looks pristine. So we're invading this place at the same time as the Hive or the Fallen, kind of like in Deepstone Crypt, where we're on the orbital platform in space above Europa, and everything is clean and new, and the Fallen are there trying to take it over. Yep. And we're like, you know what? Let's crash this thing into Europa. We don't want this here no more. But I mean, I'm glad we got it, and it is cool. I did veer off when Jared was actually doing mechanics in the space jumping portion, and I went backwards to see if you could get to the Atrax room. You can get to the doors, the airlock where you go out and everybody's like, shh, turn your music up, mute comms.
Yeah, you
can get to that door. So you can go all the way back through that section in the jumping puzzle. So it's cool, man. Like I'm cool with them reusing that asset because it's Clovis Bray stuff's neat, and I like it.
Absolutely. So, the mechanic is something we've seen before. So, how do you think the overall difficulty of finding things to shoot a couple puzzles here or there, tiles to go walk on. Kind of gives you a kind of a flashback to 0 Hour. How did you feel about the difficulty of the mission?
I think I can definitely call it, like I said, it's like a very, very light deep stone mechanics. And it's definitely not as hard as a dungeon. Not even close.
Mm-hmm.
You could as a good player, decent player that plays, let's just say plays 8 hours a week, someone that just puts in a little bit of time here and there, like an hour a night, and then on their good night, 3 hours. You could probably if you watch like a YouTube video of what the mechanics are, you could solo that whole thing.
Yeah,
no problem on the normal. The legend is going to be more for, if you want to solo it, is going to be more for people that are really want something challenging. But as a 3-man for the normal, well, we did a 2-man, but as a 2-man for Jared and I, it was fun. There were like some puzzles. We're like, what's going on? I like figured it out. When I went solo the second time through just to do some stuff, I figured out that encounter where we couldn't figure it out, and I saw it and it clicked for me. So we accidentally got it because we just pressed the different buttons enough that it said, "Hey, you got it," but neither of us could figure it out. But it's like the puzzles are simple enough that you can figure it out, or you can mess up enough times that you fall onto the right answer. It's not like a hard lock. So, like I said, if you get a group of 3 people that they only play like 8 hours a week tops, or they grab it, like they play it 1 day a week for like a day, a group of 3 people will have a fun time. Because like I said, when you pick up the augment, it has an information bar goes across the entire screen and forces you to make it go away. So you read what that it tells you. It tells you exactly what you picked up does. So it's not like, the orbs in the what's the strike, the Taken strike?
The Corrupted.
The Corrupted, where like the orbs, you pick them up, unless you played specific story missions, you don't know that tossing that to your homie increases the damage a ton. Yep. You don't know. You just pick it up and then you throw it. But with this one, you pick something up, it tells you what it does. It tells you exactly what it does, so you know what you're doing right off the bat. So it definitely simplifies that really well, and I like that they did that. They could do that for everything. Like you pick up, your first time you're playing Gambit, you pick up a mote. Hey, this is what motes are.
Yeah.
Or like, stuff like that. And like literally the first time, once you make the message go away, it's gone forever. But like all that stuff, like you could do that within story missions. You pick something up, it gives you a message. Here's what this thing is, and then goes away.
Yeah, difficulty is probably at the right place to be. What's slightly challenging the first few times through as a solo player, and then you have the additional mode where I think you're always 10 under with the legend mode or something like that, which is nice. It looks like you're not getting a emblem or anything for soloing it or solo flawlessing it. I wish there would be, because that would actually give me a reason to do it. For the most part, is to kind of just do it for the love of the game instead. Maybe as I get later into the season and just wanting to do stuff solo, probably a time I jump in and try to do it then. But it's nice that it's going to be that there is selectable. No timer for this exotic mission to get through, so you can definitely take your time, get to a person, and re-look at that, maybe that part of the YouTube video or guide that you're watching or article you're reading through. It should be easy to get through, and even better and more fun if you got somebody along for the ride. So you go scanner, then operator, then suppressor. So as you learn each one of those, you'll progression more in the mission, and after you learn suppressor, basically you go into the boss. And Praxis is back, and you probably remember, I believe it's her from one of the Empire hunts. Empire hunts, yeah, from.
Yeah. I think Praxis was the only dude on Aramis's team, actually. He was the engineer.
Yeah, okay.
The technocrat. That's what it was, yeah.
Okay. Yes, so if you remember, their mechanic was like you did some DPS, and then they threw up some shield generators. You have to go destroy those shield generators. So it's the same thing again, but unlock the shield generators. You got to run around doing the suppressor activity. So nothing too crazy there as a mechanic and the boss. We're pretty powerful DPS wise nowadays, so just use whatever your preferred method is to DPS the boss down. And at the end, you get a little next step in exotic, and you go back to talk to Clovis, and he gives you a red bordered Revision 0 pulse rifle. And it has 2 firing options. You can fire it as a 4 burst, or you can fire it as a 2 burst, which I believe the only other weapon is a 2 burst pulse is the Graviton Lance. So if you're a fan of that gun, just the way it's shot or something like that, you're probably going to like this one too. I've seen mixed on what's better in PvP, so it's probably whatever you feel like you're best with as you play around with the weapon. Now the catalyst and stuff that you'll be able to unlock are time gated. So as we go forward in this mission, week after week, we'll probably be unlocking more and more catalysts because we're unlocking more and more in Rasputin and just doing more in the mission. This also unlocks more of the yellow balls that you've been seeing roaming around. I think there's 50 of them, and if you shoot all 50, you end up getting a sparrow. So there are some oobs, out of bounds stuff that you can get into to shoot them all. I've seen some people talking about how they shot all 50, and there is a counter in the mission that you can go and see how far along you are. My recommendation for that, just like with Savathun's Eyes back in Season of the Arrival, try to do that 1 or 2 nights. That way you don't use your spot. If you're just going through and shooting them randomly, like as you see them, you're probably going to lose track of ones that you shot and haven't shot. So just try to set aside some time. And for me, I'm just waiting until I unlock all the doors. I'm not trying to do out of bounds stuff.
There's definitely going to be. I love adventure and I love figuring stuff out, but stuff with a checklist of 50 items, I can wait. I can wait till they're all open and they're all active, and somebody puts a guide online of all 50. Because then you can look at guide. It's like, hey, here's all the ones that are on the moon. Here's all the ones that are here. Here's all the ones that are here, and I can go by them step by step and do them all in like 2 days. Go, all right, I'm going to do all the ones on the moon tonight. All right, now I'm going to do all the ones in Europa. And make sure I hit them check by check. Because I would hate to go to that door and see 48 and be like, which 2 did I miss?
Yep.
Oh, no. And then have to go all the way back through and start going check by check. But I've seen some of the oobs, and it's crazy. But I guess also the door is still locked. You still need to gain access in the future coming weeks. You're going to be able to unlock access to what's behind the door. So you can open it, but that's it, because there's a second door right behind that.
As you enter the boss room, there's some special dialogue from Aramis. Chad, do you remember what the dialogue actually was?
I don't remember it word for word.
The darkness bringing everybody, all the elixir back that was fallen, or something like that.
Yeah.
Or
House
of Salvation
back.
The
name of the boss was Praxis the Defiled, which is very much in line with how we see the Scorn and how Aramis would see what the darkness did to her friend Praxis. So from all of our points of view, the witness is just raising up these people and taking advantage of basically necromancy of the dead bodies, and Aramis doesn't like it at all one bit. And it's definitely interesting because she is in lore bits in the dungeon, and she is now on comms with us in the mission. So, future tentative ally down the line. I can't really say ally, more of like enemy of my enemy is my friend kind of thing.
Okay.
And yeah, so but it is definitely interesting to hear her talking, because she definitely on the comms sounded very upset and sad at looking at her friend and what had become of him. And I was like, oh, that hurts, but let me kill him because I need this gun.
Yeah. It just makes me think that Tanex is going to be coming back again. It's going to be Scorn Tanex at this point. That's also apart everything else that's kind of going on. Like he's going to end up being like Vader. What part left is actually human and not machine? So it's probably going to be what, the raid boss in the next raid, like the first boss that you come to. That's just like a DPS
but it's just going to be just the legs.
Just the legs.
Because we killed the head and the torso, but it's just the legs.
Mm-hmm.
And it's going to be top half shank.
What if it's just his head floating around on a shank? Like that's what's left of him. It's just the Thanos head just roaming around.
And not even the big shanks, like just the regular shank.
Regular shank. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, you heard it here first from us that Thanos will return again. So so a little more about Revision Zero. As you get kills with it and put out more DPS, you get a bar that fills up just like Teraba and Macabre. So whenever you load that, do that extra reload, it becomes a sniper with anti-barrier that does some pretty good damage output. So go out and get a couple kills in PvP and then go get a couple sniping kills. And guess what? That sniper bullet doesn't act like a sniper. It acts like a pulse rifle, so it does not flinch you to the ceiling. So all your pulse rifle unflinching mods will work as you got that bullet loaded up, ready to go.
Jeez. So once we're able to load 4 in the barrel, we can just go bang, 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 bang real fast.
Yep.
That's going to be fun.
There's some people that are saying that this might be the best DPS exotic primary now. Solo.
Because it fills the bar on precision hits, right?
Yes. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
So.
Yeesh.
It might be something to keep in the back pocket for a day one raid whenever you're like, you run out of special and heavy and you just pull that out and you got 4 more sniper shots that you can put into the boss. All right. Yep. Next up is our likes and dislikes. So, of course, Fox is out this week, so you're only getting 2 likes and 2 dislikes. And we're not going to put words in Fox's mouth, even though we have in the past. But I think we might give him a break this time around. So my like is that my hunter hit 1590 gear score. So that's 1590 across the board. That's 1 check mark. I know Chad's all about getting them check marks done. But for me, that's one big one. Now I move on to the Titan. I think it's at 1587 base. So not too much longer for it. And then the Warlock has been completely untouched. So it'll probably have a little bit longer to go for the most part.
I'm shaking my head over here like I'm not at 89 with my Titan right now. But that would be my like if I was at 90. But my like is definitely what Aramis said on comms when she came on comms, and like I said earlier, you can hear emotion in her voice. Her voice actress definitely did an amazing job. But really takes the comms and runs with it, and you can feel it coming off of her, even though you're in like the middle of a boss fight trying to figure out what's going on. But yeah, when she says, I think she says like the fallen will be brought back, or like as needed kind of a thing. Like if the witness needs them as a tool, even though they're dead, he'll just bring them back. And it hurts, man. It hurts to hear that. It hurts to hear her like that. And it's like, you know, you're my Emily, but this isn't good because this means any of them can keep on coming back. Oh.
So does that mean he could take control of Cade?
Well, the Fallen. Because the Fallen are similar to the way the Scorn work. And if when you're going through the Vow of the Disciple raid, you see that they've been doing lots of experiments on the Scorn. They've been trying to, actually put worms into Scorn. So they've probably been working on what makes the Scorn tick. Why can they keep coming back to life? And the Witness probably has an answer to that and is able to keep bringing them up on their own. Because we haven't seen a sign of the Fanatic whatsoever. And the Fanatic was the one that was raising up the Scorn initially. But now that the Fanatic's not really around, maybe the Witness has that ability, which is why we're seeing the Scorn more and more. Because they're Fallen that are infected with dark ether, which is ether and just totally in the darkness. So, it's one of those weird things that I hope I hear more about down the line, definitely. But the Scorn are a weird thing, man.
Yeah.
They're weird. All right, now my dislike is that, and this is not from firsthand experience because I haven't had a chance yet, but the Deepstone red border drop rates are very low, and that sounds like any particular raid. It's really too bad that we weren't doing Deepstone when it was raid week, because those red borders, had we saved them, count according to people on the first week of the new season. But yeah, it looks like it's like a 1 in 10 almost of getting it, because you have a chance at dropping, if we're on Atrax, you have a chance at dropping the sniper shotgun or the armor. So it's like, out of those chances, 2 of them are guns, and out of those 2 being a red border gun is this amount. So it's a fairly low chance. But the boss and Atrax and Chaos Room are all easy enough to grind out if you get a solid squad that just kind of wants to hang out and get it done for a little bit. But yeah, it's going to be a bit of a grind on that one.
Yeah, I've done it for a little while. Not much to show for it. After like maybe 10 clears of Atrax, I had 1 red border sniper. So that's 20 drops, 1 out of 20. So yeah, that's probably a little touch too low for my liking, but maybe my half-baked take will take care of it coming up in a little while. Now, my dislike is that Deepstone Crypt being on Christmas week. For many people, this is a time where you're pretty busy, like going to parties, getting stuff together, traveling, and it's tough to have some time to grind. But if I guess if you're stuck at home for whatever reason, or just not being out, or just enjoying time alone, at least you can get in there and farm this week. It gives you something to do. But for me, it's a dislike. All right, next up is weapons breakdown. So we'll go ahead and break down the 3 new playlist weapons that you're getting for this season. So this is some of the newer weapons to watch out for as you're grinding up those reputations. So first up, it's called Prolonged Engagement. It's a stasis lightweight frame SMG. So and also has the Vice Stinger origin trait, which is probably, I think, one of the best origin traits in the game right now. So there's a lot of stuff to build into with that, especially in PvE. So I'm going full bore appended mag, 4th times the charm with target lock and Vice Stinger at the same time. So there was a good Reddit post out there that I read earlier this week. But with Vice Stinger, 4th times the charm, and target lock, if you stay on an enemy, you're ramping up to 40% extra damage with just target lock alone. So that's pretty dang good for a legendary weapon. And I have something close to that. I have a subsistence target lock, so it's okay. But man, I would love to have 4 times the charm with target lock at the same time. PvP. So this gun has a stand out of the box at a 14 zoom. So I want to ramp that up to 15. So that's zoom finder in the last column. So to go along with that, I'm going full bore ricochet rounds with Eye of the Storm or dynamic Shrey reduction. So either of those I'll be happy with in that 3rd column. You could talk me into Killing Wind, maybe Air Assault, or the new Perfect Float. I don't know much about Perfect Float yet. I've tried it out. Didn't feel a big difference, but it might be something good moving forward. So, Chad, why don't you take us through this new rocket launcher?
Ooh, blowout. It's the
PS Crucible.
Crucible, right? Yeah, Crucible. So it's an arc adaptive frame rocket launcher. We need more rockets, because rockets are actually good on the dungeon boss. So keep an eye out on that. But for PvE, we're looking quick launch, impact casing, tracking, because it doesn't come automatically tracking, or field prep, and then explosive light. So tracking obviously is one of those fail safes for if the enemy's not sitting still or running right at you, your tracking is your best friend. But field prep's great because it gives you a little bit extra ammo. And if the enemy is just sitting still or running at you, you just crouch, and then you get maximum reload speed. So it's either one of those is great depending on which kind of enemy you're really going at, or if you feel you're really good at aiming your rockets. But for PvP, we're looking at quick launch, black powder, demolitions, and clusters. So if you use your grenade, getting a kill with demo and crucible gives you a real good chunk back on a rocket kill.
20%.
So that'll get you a good amount of that grenade back. And then if you're using cluster, you might get 2. So it's a really quick load it up, turn around, fire it. Definitely try to get a kill or 2. Waste that heavy ammo so your enemy can't get it.
Yeah, so again, these weapons are the ones with like 12 options in each column for 3 and 4. So there is a lot to look at there. In that last column, I guess your other like bigger DPS ones would be Vorpal, Lasting Impression, and Frenzy. So Frenzy is a decent solo perk to have. I do really enjoy Frenzy as a solo, doing solo stuff. All right, next up is Gambit. I have played 0 Gambit this season, and I won't play Gambit until week 10 because that's when you unlock all the challenges. So this one is called Albruna D. So it's an aggressive frame sniper that is arc energy. So we've had a few of these around in the game so far, so you might have a good one laying around already. But if I want to go PvE, I'm going fluted, appended mag with clown cartridge and firing line. Now, I could have went triple tap in column 3, which I would have been fine with, but I just like having clown cartridge to just like reduce the amount of times I have to reload, which could be hit or miss of what this could do. PvP fluted with steady rounds, perpetual motion, or elemental capacitor. If you're void or arc, void you're getting that more stability, arc you're getting more handling, and then of course snapshot in the last column. Now if you're able to build enough handling with this, maybe your Ophidian aspect on arc with elemental capacitor, that use like, all right, you got the handling masterwork and fluted, and I want something else in that last column. There's opening shot in that last column instead. And I think that's the 2 I would choose for PvP in that last column. And of course, if you want to play with your teammates, you can always use fire line in PvP and get that extra damage. All right, that is it for weapons breakdown this week. That's your 3 new playlist weapons that are not selectable. They can only get them from the end of the game drops. So make sure you have that ghost mod on to get yourself some extra ones as you're going through the playlist. All right, next up is half-baked takes. So this is going to be a little quickie one, mainly out of just frustration of the game, and we need a currency to instantly unlock a weapon pattern per season. So what I'm saying is like, all right, I loaded to this season, and you're like, you know what? I want my Succession Sniper unlocked right now. I want it to start the season because it's just newly craftable. And I want to be able to do that with 1 weapon per season. That is in the crafting, being able to be crafted. So I know we have exotic ciphers that you can only hold 1 at a time. And I was like, I'm okay with using that to take the place, but I know you can get one basically every week from Xur. So I know they're not as meaningful as I thought they would be. So you could put it in the season pass, like a new that you collected at level 95 or something to instantly unlock a full weapon pattern.
Okay. What's the area called where you go where you forge the stuff?
Enclave.
The Enclave. Okay. because it could be dark ciphers,
Okay.
and like you get it, and then I they would never let you get something out of a raid without playing the raid.
Mm-hmm.
But you know, being able to instantly craft my Ikalos SMG, I would love to have had that the first part of this season right away, and just been leveling it by playing the missions and stuff. Slapped on a War Mind cell just to have a War Mind cell, and just using my SMG that I used for forever back in my hands, you know, because now I'm only on one red border of that. I have the shotgun, which is great, but I really want the SMG. So being able to pick one out of the 10 red borders that they make you do or that they give you access to every season now, would be great. Like, I'd pick the one that I really want, and then I'll level that while I'm doing the story missions. You know, it'd give me more of a reason to play, because I'm like, I want to level up my gun so I can access the perks I want. And I don't want to do it by sitting in a raid and shooting these shadow thralls over and over again for an hour. I'd rather do it by just playing. So I mean, like, yeah, having like a dark cipher where, like, if you go, once you load into this, like, because you remember how whenever the linear came out that season, you went to the enclave and then you went to the left side of the forging thing, and then it's like, hey, here's a quest.
Yeah.
Like, maybe it could even be a quest line where it's like, hey, forge this new Amalon gun that we're going to give you for free. So you like get kills with it, and then it gives you another red border one, and then you get kills with it, and then, oh, you can forge it now, and then here's a dark cipher for your troubles. Thank you. And then it's like, hey, that's a good 45 minutes to an hour of playing a game, and then you get to craft any of the seasonal weapons for the season for doing it. It's like, here's a new crafting gun that we make you do by doing this quest, and then here is a cipher to pick any of the seasonal ones. Thanks for playing the game, kind of thing.
Yeah, I think it's something that would be really nice to know. You can just jump in and play with something new, or, as Chad mentioned, grab something of old and just start enjoying the game in a new way, and not trying to just pray to the RNG guys that you're trying to unlock your favorite weapon or something that you really want to use, and know that, like, if you're just using the regular version of it, you're wasting your time not leveling up the weapon that you can able to choose your perks and get enhanced perks on. All right, next up is lore, and I know Chad's got a lot to talk about here, and a big character that's really going on prominent in this season.
Oh boy, we're going to talk about Clovis Bray. Like I said earlier, he was introduced to us in Destiny 1. Kind of. We knew of Clovis Bray because in the Meridian Bay on D1 Mars, you saw the Clovis Bray symbol on some buildings. Basically, that entire area was a Clovis Bray Futurescape facility, essentially owned by the Clovis Bray Corp, and was used to for innovation and all kinds of sciencey stuff. So you saw their symbol all over the place when you're playing D1, but you know, it's just like, it's a cool thing. You know, it's like, hey, this is a sciencey thing. We know there was lore about it, but in D1 they didn't really talk much about him. Now going into D2, when we are introduced to Anna Bray for the first time, she then goes through that storyline a little bit. So we meet Anna Bray, and then she is the granddaughter of Clovis Bray. She's the daughter of Clovis Bray II. And then later on again in Beyond Light, when we meet a stranger again, we find out she is Elsie Bray, Anna Bray's sister. And then we actually come face to face with their grandfather, Clovis Bray, at the end of the story. We come, face to giant face. And we talk to him, and for once, the first time we ever meet Clovis Bray. But Clovis is the founder of the company Clovis Bray. Now, that might tell you how much of a mad lad he is, or an egomaniacal, just scientific mad genius he is, but he is, in essence, a absolute genius scientist that was born within the golden age, and that is the perfect time to be a genius scientist is during the golden age. They lived to about 150, 200 years at the time. Science was absolutely booming at that point, making our current revolutions in science look like just a drop in just the lake of knowledge that was happening in that time. But Clovis created the Clovis Bray Company. They had they created facilities all across the entire solar system. Obviously, we have Europa, we have Mars. There's some on Earth. His company created the Warmind Rasputin with the obvious help of Anna Bray. I believe his daughter Wilhelmina Bray made a huge advancements also within the exoscience field for exomines with Clovis Bray as well, advancing that. Clovis worked with Helga Rasmussen, in order to make exomines. So he worked with the Black Armory in order to create the exos as well, which is how she got the research in order to make 801, is because she worked directly on the exos themselves and was able to translate that in a way to make 801. But Clovis created this entirely massive company that was all about science and innovation and bringing humans into the future for forever. And just a huge figurehead of the scientific community. But his main reason for that is because he wanted to become immortal. Like all crazy rich mad scientist people. Their main point in science is to become immortal so that they can live forever and continue doing sciencey stuff. And he didn't care what he had to do it. He obviously had hit a point where his humanity was basically gone and he was just science. He only cared about the results, didn't care what he had to do to get to that result. Now, on the moon, you may know the map, the anomaly, with the big black cube in the middle of it, doing its thing. We shoot each other and come back to life and all that stuff, and that anomaly is there. Now, that anomaly was the K1 artifact was releasing a bunch of energy out, and the scientists at the station were having lots of problems. Lots of crazy things were happening. But to kind of cut down that story, they called Clovis Bray in because they said, hey, this is the smartest person that exists currently in our solar system. He needs to come look at this thing and tell us what's going on. So he goes there, and the artifact speaks to him, and it tells him, go to Europa. You will find your answers on Europa. And his answers are he wants to become immortal. Now, there's two things that make that an issue. Is one, he was dying. He was actually in the process of dying, and he killed his son because his son had the same disease. Well, he didn't directly do it, but he did it by accident. But he killed his son, Clovis Bray II, because he was trying to heal him from the same exact disease that he didn't want to test on himself because he wanted to make sure it worked. So he was trying to create a cure for the disease he has, tested it on his son died. So he's like, well, I'm not doing that to myself. So that was like his main issue. But then the second issue is Europa at the time was not terraformed very much in any way. So he had a lot of issues to get there. He had to, and like when you go there, there's a city. There's like a legit city. There's the creation area. There's the Deep Stone Crypt area. So they did lots of building there after a certain point, but it took them a lot of trouble to actually make the facilities there. Now I've talked a little bit about how he was a madman. We've gone into what made him go to Europa. His granddaughters and an Elsie Bray, who we know a lot more about than him at that time. But to really get into something that happened that kind of gives you more of like a real grasp on his mindset towards science, we get the lore book Bray Lab Records Confidential. Now, these are lab records of scientific experiments that they did on Europa. Now, the first one was called radiolarian fluid ingestion. Identities Clovis Bray, Jay Wong, and Patient 1. Location Deepstone Crypt. Clovis Bray says, "How does it taste? Metallic, coarse, something else. Does it feel digestible? It feels nourishing. It's cool. I can feel it making its way through me. This is encouraging. No immediate effects. Wait, what is it? Talk to us. Feels like it's attacking my stomach. Sir, this heart rate is spiking and his pressure is dropping. Damn it. He's losing fluids at an alarming rate. Exciting, isn't it? What's going to happen? He's going to die. That's what's going to happen. Fine. Send in the medic units. Not sure if it's safe. We don't know if this is contagious. Could go airborne. How else are we going to find out? We send in the medic units. Next test, radiolarian fluid injection. New patient, patient 2. That's twice now. Direct consumption and direct injection yield similar results. Airborne has been disproven, but direct contact with the fluid still produces corruption. I wish you wouldn't call it that. It's not corruption, it's reprogramming. I'd like to bring Helga into these sessions. She has an engineer's mind. She will find workarounds we need. Slimmer units, stronger materials, alternate power sources. I would advise against that. The pursuit of science isn't always her top priority. When she sees what we're seeing, the precipice of a new age, she'll fall in line. I like working without jurisdiction. Wasn't that the point of us coming out here? With her track record, it'd only be a matter of time before the Human Ethics Organization come down on us. When did I ask for your opinion on this? Send in the cleanup crew and prep the next patient. Sir, his arm, it's transforming. Would you look at that? It appears to be replacing cells on an individual level? Can it be contained? Is there a way to stop the spread? We can amputate, but at this rate, I doubt we'd be fast enough. Perhaps exposure to clarity would slow it down. We need to control this. Study the arm. If he's going to die anyway, maybe we just amputate and pair the arm with another patient. But we don't currently have another... Oh. Wouldn't you like to have a shiny new arm? Don't you want to be stronger and vulnerable? Don't act so surprised. You know what we're working towards. Next test. Trans-temporal crossing. Send them through. Participants step forward through the portal, maintain your grasp on the tether, count to 10, and step back out. Final bet, older or younger? Older. But if they come back younger, I'm going in next. I think we should get more clinical trials before you subject yourself, sir. Here we go, they're through. Countdown. 3, 2, 1. Pull the tether and bring them back. Where are they? The tether appears to be stuck. Pull harder. Tighten the winch. It looks like it may snap. Maybe they like what they've found, or something is holding them there. It's giving. Here they come. Oh, disgusting. You smell that? It's permeating through the glass. What are we looking at? Looks to be complete cellular deterioration. They're just mushy goop, for lack of a better term. Guess I won't be going in yet after all. Seems there are still some things man was not meant to conquer. If you believe that, you're in the wrong place, Justin. Just needs a little more fine-tuning. Next, exo arm attachment. How about the index finger? No. Extremities remain unresponsive. Are there any sensations at all? Phantom ones. I have an itch I'd like to scratch. My chest feels heavy, like someone is sitting on me. While nerve endings are attached to the mechanism successfully, we're not generating any action potentials. This isn't working, Helga. Still progress. You'll have to settle for that. I typically don't settle for anything. Hello, I'm struggling to breathe? He's experiencing a massive myocardial infraction. Send in the medic units. I fear my earlier hypothesis was correct, and the human body in its current evolution can't sustain the physical exertion the machine parts demand. Then we should evolve. Oh, okay, let me jump ahead 100 million years real quick. We've had some interesting advancements in post-transcriptional modification gene splicing with primates, fish, and other animals. What if we built stronger humans? Could they withstand this process? I'm an engineer, not a geneticist. I don't know if your ape man can wield a metal arm. That's such a reductive and tasteless comprehension of what I'm proposing. He's flatlined. We've lost him. Well, you know what they say, if at first you don't succeed. Next, food supplement. Okay, Agatha, what do you have for me? We took your proposal, we ran with it. We've distilled and condensed enough nutrients and proteins down into a single pill that should eliminate the need for sustenance within your average patient for 10 years. That's a start, but I'd like to get the number higher. I'm tired of stopping to eat. Imagine what you could do for productivity, not to mention military efforts. Next on the chopping block is sleep. We've administered the pill 24 hours ago to 5 patients. Let's see how they're acclimating. Patient 27, how's your appetite? I don't have one. I miss food, but I think it's habitual. Patient 28, my stomach feels full. Patient 30, too full, actually. Anyone else experiencing this? Murmurs of confirmation. That's to be expected, I suppose. Must be a bizarre sensation. Ma'am, I'm actually feeling pretty sick. Is there a bathroom I could use? After we conclude this check-in, I don't think it can wait. Oh, what's happening? My stomach. Their stomachs are expanding. Fix it. I can't. Retching, screaming, groans, bursting, fluid spilling. Agatha, clearly we have not found our solution. I'll leave this mess in your incapable hands. Don't ever bring me to witness an event like this again. Disgusting. Next one, Clarity Control Exposure. Sir, we have reports coming in from Clarity Control. About time. Well, they're dead, sir. How many? All of them. And they all came in physical contact with it? No, sir. Some were merely within proximity. I have a recording if you'd like to see it. Right away. Recording plays. Did it? You all hear that? Hear what? It's speaking. Mom, is that you? No, don't go near it. Unintelligible screams, choking, fluid spilling. Recording ends. Fascinating. It appeared to be communicating with them. I wonder what it said. With your permission, we'd like to quarantine the area and restrict all access. I'd like to try a different approach. Send in some fresh faces. Tell them nothing except to keep their distance. I'd like to know what it's saying. Ice wielding. Are we ready to introduce our exo marionette to the future? Energy transfer initiated. I love that sound, the sound of progress. We're at 15%. Look at his hand, magnificent. The ice is concentrated at the palm, now 20%. Imagine the look on Abram's face if he walked in now. The man has no vision. I don't trust people like that. Agreed. Threshold at 25%. Now would be optimal. Let's see what he can do. Try to focus the energy into a controlled burst. Loud hum, blast, and impact. It went right through the wall. I'll pop the champagne. We're at 30%. Should we stop? No, keep going. We can have him chill the champagne for us. Passing 35%, the ice appears to be spreading up his arm. I think we should pull back. Keep going. Another round of blast for us. Loud hum. Hum intensifies. Blast, damn it. Blast now. Sir, the ice is permeating throughout his body. He's turning into an icicle. Blast. He's unresponsive, killing the feed. Is he still alive? He's frozen solid. It's possible he'll still be operational. Incredible. We forge ahead under strict lock and key. I want this under my control no matter the cost. So, as we can tell, he does not care about killing as many people as it takes to get what he needs out of his experimentation. He's clearly killed a bunch of people, and he's watched a lot of them die in front of him. And none of that at all. When the 5 people just exploded from the food pill, he just says, I don't want to see this mess happen. Clean it up.
Yep.
Don't call me here again. That's gross. Like, bruh, Jesus Christ. You just watched 5 people explode from an experiment, and your reaction was, ew, clean it up, and don't make me come here again.
Yeah, it's just like something that's egotistical, right? Where you just like your life is the only one that matters. You can't really see it outside of that. So it's just
egomaniacal.
Yeah, it's just data points whenever somebody dies or something like that. It's like it's not even a person. Yeah. All right, now it's time for the mailbag, and after that great lore segment, we're gonna go to the opposite end of the game. And the first question here is, how has the comp grind been going for the CC pod?
I can answer first on that one.
Okay.
It hasn't. I haven't been able to bring myself into it yet. I want the rose, but Also, after Jared talked to me about comp, I was very much not wanting to do it yet.
Yep.
So I'm waiting for the weeks where a lot less people are on, where I'm going to be like, okay, let's play my placement matches. Let's see what happens. But yeah, no, I haven't been in there yet. Jared, how'd it go for you?
I did a placement games and did like a couple games afterwards, but it's a lot of pain and suffering for a hand cannon. Like I have Austringer and I can craft it to be practically what I want it to be. But Rose is better than Austringer, but I'm still power grinding. So it's like it's at a point later in the season when I power grind's over. If the rotator raid or dungeon's not something I want to do, and I'm not chasing any exotics, like, all right, I guess I'll play a little PvP and see how it goes. So it's gonna be later in the season for me when if I do try to make any kind of climb whatsoever. But it's it's an afterthought for the most part. All right, question 2. Out of Destiny's non-player characters, NPCs, would you like to have as your secret Santa? So who do you
Definitely.
think? Yeah.
For me, it would be Saint 14.
Okay.
I want to get a handwritten, lovely poem from my boy Saint, and then have Osiris be a little bit jealous, but understand that it's about the holidays.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I kind of think that Mithrax would give some really cool piece of tech.
Dang it, that's a good answer.
Yeah. Yes, I think it's gonna be Mithrax. So.
I'm over here with my framed poem on the wall, and you got some crazy Elixir tech you're rolling around with, and I'm like, man,
I have a new arm.
Mine came from the heart, right here, man.
Yeah. All right, question 3. What D2 weapon would you want to make craftable, excluding exotics?
Oof. My first response to that was breakneck.
Okay.
Because it would be one of those where like you could make it without I think onslaught, was that the perk that it had? Onslaught, where as you got more kills, it became a rampage that sped up the gun. Like that 4th column could have that in there as an option, or you could pick something else if you want. But onslaught was always such a neat perk, even though it didn't work very well, which is probably why it's never coming back, because as the RPM went up, the damage for the gun went down. And that was always very sad, because the whole point was like, hey, this is rampage on speed. Like, come on, like I want my damage. But it'd be cool to be able to craft a gun like that with that perk on it, and then be able to pick a mag and a barrel and then a 3rd column perk instead. I think it'd be a fun time. Subsistence onslaught would be great.
Yeah, that would be a lot of fun. Man, part of me wanted like Mountaintop to come back and it come back as a craftable weapon, but it'd still be micro missile in that last column was something else, and I don't think people want to deal with that in PvP, even though like I bought it back out for a prophecy dungeon and it just like it's terrible in air accuracy. I mean, it's really bad now with the AE changes too, on top of how they nerfed it before. So, man, non-exotic. So what would be a legendary that I use the most? That's, I guess, Cyrus Wrath, because it's still like the best SMG, and like I don't even really want to make it a PvP one. I just want it the perfect PvE Cyrus Wrath, I guess, because I think it had kill clip there for a while, but I kind of just want like something else, like Frenzy with demo or something like that with it.
Ooh, okay.
All right, question 4. What are your 3 top cookie choices in the cookie aisle at the store? So like we all know that like we can make some homemade cookies somewhere that tastes amazing, but we're talking about in the cookie aisle.
Yeah, I want cookies. I want them now.
Yeah.
We gonna just come up with each our list or go one at a time here?
Yeah. I'll go ahead and give you. I'll give you my third. My third would be double stuffed Oreos or the seasonal Oreo. Whatever, like, I'm good
Okay.
with either one, but the seasonal ones has a little more icing than the regular Oreo, so that's why it's like they kind of lean more towards the double stuffed.
Gotcha. Yeah, I was double stuff was definitely one of my choices, but the vanilla one. I
Okay.
like that vanilla double stuff is
Yeah.
when I if I see that in the 7-Elevens when I'm making my quick run, I grab the sleeve. Just like, yeah, let's go.
Yeah. My two would be frosted animal crackers, but I know they're
Oh,
like
dang it.
animal cookies, but they're animal cookie. But yeah,
Yeah.
those. Yeah.
Yeah. No, the yeah, I know exactly which ones you're talking about. My second choice would be the oh my gosh, I'm blanking on the name, but it's the strawberry wafer cookies.
Oh
Those like
yeah.
rectangle ones. Yeah.
Okay.
I
Okay.
love those guys.
My number one choice would be Milanos by Petra's Farm.
Ooh, we both went Pepperidge Farm on the number one. I went Brussels for
Okay.
for my
Okay.
number one. Yeah. I just like because it's like if you like crunchy cookies, the entire cookie is crunch. It's great. If you like soft cookies or like something not as hard as like a crunch, Milanos are
Yeah.
right there. They're
That,
right there.
that
If I'm feeling something that isn't gonna crunch that much, the Milano, I'll grab a bag and be like, where'd the bag go? It's empty. Who ate my Milanos? No
yeah.
one else is here.
There's an outlet store is not too far from here, probably like 30, 40 minutes where you could go in and just like you get like boxes and boxes of them for very cheap because they expire in like 2 months. So you can get them like
Yeah.
a dollar a bag, and you just go like once
Dang,
a year and
nabbit.
fill up. Yeah,
So you're saying that's what I'm doing when I go visit you,
yeah. If you want to take them all the way back, yeah.
huh?
All right, last question in honor of the season. What is the best gift you have given someone?
Oh man, that's extremely subjective because it's
Yeah, yeah.
like the best gift that I think they have received from me,
Hmm.
or the best gift I believe I've given to someone.
I think it's the best one that you believe you given to someone. Like, I mean,
Okay.
you gotta know
Um.
what their reaction was and
Yeah.
how
Yeah.
much
No,
they
I got
enjoyed
you.
it.
Yeah. Yeah. Um. I think it was. I think I don't think it, I think it was last year. Yeah. Um. My my mom has always lived with one of her kids. For a lot of my life, it was two of her kids, me and my sister. But I moved out obviously shortly after becoming an adult. Um, she moved out after a split happened, which is very normal in America. But she took my sister with her because my sister wanted to live with my mom, and I stayed, and it kind of hung out. But she's lived since then. She's lived with my sister, and then she my sister moved to a different city, and my mom bought a new home. And last year was the first holiday in her new place, and so I made sure to make the trip up to go be there and see her. And I because she had no more kids in the house, she had more time to herself because she's not taking care of anybody anymore. I got her like a really nice mani pedi set for her to, because like now she has the time to sit down and have a glass of wine and just be
Mhm.
in front of the TV and do stuff for her. When you're taking care of kids and you're cooking dinner for a family, you don't have time to do any of that. And my mom always made a point to do that for herself, to at least do her nails and look very presentable. She was very, very businessy. And so I wanted to make sure she could have the time to do that for herself, and bought her a really nice kit.
That's awesome, Chad. For me, it involves cousin Cody, and it's whenever Gen 2 Pokemon just came out. So like we're young,
Ooh.
and like we gave each other Pokemon cards for Christmas, and like we was opening our packs and stuff, and he ended up getting a Lugia. I don't remember if it was first edition or not, but yeah, he got a Lugia out of the cards I gave him. So I think like
Oof.
given the time and the age, like that how much it meant. That was probably a really big deal, like in our lives at that point, because like that's the only thing we know is like grade school and video games. So, and playing Pokemon. So yeah, I think that's it.
Oh, that's awesome. Getting a really cool card out of a pack is always a blast. Even now, like as an adult or playing when I was playing more in college, doing some like competitive stuff for the Yu-Gi-Mons.
Okay.
Opening up a pack and getting a card that you either really wanted or like,
Yeah.
I didn't think I'd ever see this in my hands.
What
Like
was
it's just such a cool moment.
The Blue-Eye Dragon, right? That was like the best thing in the beginning, right?
Yeah. I did pull a Charizard though as a kid in a pack, and I'm really sad I don't have it anymore. But I pulled it, and I'm like, no way, it's a Charizard.
Yeah.
And everyone's like, oh my god.
I remember being in a comic book store, and this dude like bought like this stand of Pokemon cards. There's probably been like, probably like 70 packs of them, and like he gives his brother one, and he's like going through the other ones. And his brother, the one he gave his brother, had a Charizard in it.
That's how you curse yourself. I've seen it happen so many times. And it's one of those things that I do because I used to do pack openings and stuff for myself. This was a long time ago. But like I would buy a box, like a sealed box it came with, 20, 30 packs. And I would like grab it. And then my homie's like, hey man, can I have one? I'm like, you can't have one, but I'll let you open this.
Yeah.
And I'll hand him the thing. And I'm like, I'm filming all my packs. And like, he's just sitting there. And then he opens his pack on the side. And then like, I stop the filming. I'm doing whatever. And then he's like, hey man, look what I got you in this pack. And I'm like, dang it. That would have been so much cooler.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm glad it's mine. I'm like, had I given it to you, I would have been pissed.
Yep. There was this special box at Target this last week that I contemplated picking it up, but I think it's $125, and it's like it guaranteed you a Charizard inside or something like that. Okay. And I was just like, okay, part of me was like, get this box, put it in a storage locker, and never touch it again, and maybe in 20 years it'd be worth something. But I was like, I just can't get into that stuff again.
Yeah. But, yeah. It's rough, dude. Nothing more fun than opening a bunch of packs of cards.
Yeah. All right, that's it for the pod this week. We wish you well over this. A lot of people celebrate holidays this week and leading into the new year. We should have a podcast next week, and maybe NotRyanFox is back and healthy again.
Yeah, hopefully y'all are healthier than he is. He's doing really bad, so that is definitely a high chance that you are. But yeah, there's lots of holidays going on this time of year, especially this week. Some of them started early this week, going throughout the week and into the weekend. Spend some time with friends, family, or neither if you don't want to. It's all up to you. You do you. But definitely take time to relax. Lots of businesses are closed in America on Sunday, so take that time to yourself if you need to, and take care of you. But thanks for listening again. Follow us wherever you can. Listen to us on Spotify, iTunes. Give us a like on YouTube. Click and unclick the bell, all that kind of fun stuff. Subscribe as much as and get, spread the word as much as you can. Happy holidays to y'all, and we will